Wait for it to connect. And we are live.
Hi. Hey, Val.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
You will find that in time, persistent, you will grow stronger. Your awareness will become heightened. It cannot be said that it will take 2 years or even 10. It depends solely upon your effort and your persistence. But in time, you will come to
Are we ready?
Yeah. Perseverance. Whoop, whoop. Love it.
We give them time to jump in. We're giving them time to jump in.
Hey, people. Hi.
This is Standing in My Truth. Listen to this tune.
Louder.
Did it louder? Can you hear it louder now? There we go.
Yeah. This is one of my favourite tunes. It's Perseverance by Technomatic, and this track got me and some of my friends through some really hard times. It's just a fantastic track that can aid, it can help, and it can motivate. It's
motivated me this morning, I can assure you.
And I've got to say, hats off Technomatic, that's very well produced.
I'm going to fade it out in a minute. Okay, let me bring this down. DJ Trinity, finally.
Hi, Val.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm a little bit tired today, but
And why? After yesterday, I think, right? We won't tell anybody what happened to us yesterday.
just a little bit.
It is lovely to have you live. We are not pre-recorded. We are absolutely live on, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you could, are you able to look at your phone and check? Because I don't know. This is first time live for me. And we can check on our Instagram, not Instagram, is it Facebook?
Let me
look. Facebook page, and it should be on Standing on My Truth. I think it's on, should be on.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So
yeah.
It should be also on our YouTube page.
John is checking now, and yeah.
So, hey, welcome to everyone in Cyber World. Valerie M here, who's now got her own podcast show, and she's joined by DJ Trinity today. Woo-hoo!
Thank you for having me. I'm so chuffed of everything you're doing here, Val. I just think it's incredible, and you're so brave for doing this. I mean, I honestly, I don't know how you've got me to do this. I don't know. You have broken my online virginity, and I am breathe. I'm okay.
Remember, breathe, and it's breathe. I I'm going to start with one of the how I know you. I'm going to flip the script to how we spoke about it yesterday, and it was, I've known you for a while, but it's like more the cyber world, meeting once or twice. You took the massive journey, and when people hear your story, which I'm not going to say anything yet, but to know that you took that massive journey after meeting me once or twice, we stayed in touch, and you came down for my birthday party, 2016. I was so stressed out that night, but you did that. You made that effort under considerable strain.
I was so scared, but your family are amazing. Your best friend is just wonderful, but your cousin and your mum and your auntie, I've never been looked after so much, I think, in my life.
Yeah, it's nothing but love in my family, to be fair. My friends, my collection of friends are very loving. They are really, really loving.
They were so kind to me, and I loved it. You were fantastic,
Thank you.
Gorgeous as ever.
I don't know about that. Did you see me earlier? The thing what I'm trying to say, though, is this. When I met you, it was fleeting. I was doing a gig. We were in this mansion, and it was just a random conversation. We're in the middle of I've come down from my dressing room. I've come into the kitchen bar area, and there you were having a good old chat. We ended up having a good old chat, and in between that talk, where I thought you were pouring drinks, when it turns out you don't drink, but I thought you were having a drink. I was having my shoulder. What was it? My shoulder had been. I had a bad back in that shoulder.
You had a crick neck and shoulder, and I turned into Mother Hen of like, oh my God, how can she perform like this? Here you go, have this, try this. I have cream. I have this tablet. Would you like this?
But the thing is, you had all this stuff in your bag, and I literally was looking at you and going, what the hell is she? What's she walking around with so much drugs? Who walks around with all that stuff? But
yeah,
in the midst of me passing literally a throwaway comment, which was, do you know what I mean? I remember you said, if I seem to be wobbling and falling over, don't worry, I've had an injury. And I remember saying, no, maybe because you've had too much to drink, and you actually don't drink. I
bet you thought that moment, what is this crazy girl up to? What do you mean?
I'm not going to lie, I didn't think you were crazy. I just thought, because as I do not speak to anyone. When I do a gig, I don't speak to anyone for the first, literally at least an hour before the show, or 2 hours. As it got to about, freestylers now and again I may do, but I have a ritual which I just don't do. So for me to have come down and then, sort of engaged, there was a reason. There was just a reason. And what you said to me was, I have a spinal injury. I broke my back. And I just remember you saying that. That stuck with me.
Yeah.
That stuck with me all day.
That was probably the easiest way for me back then to explain anything, was to say, I've got a broken back. I've got a bad back. But I never went into it any more than that, which obviously there is a way lot more to it than just that, which you, lady, are now going to worm your way out of me.
I'll tell you what, let's get to know, just before we get into that, introduce yourself.
Okay.
DJ Trinity.
Hi, my name's Kez. I'm originally from the mountains of mid Wales. I grew up in a quite large family. I have a huge extended family. I'm Welsh and proud. I'm a Celt, and I grew up enjoying nature, riding motocross bikes, my mountain bike all over the mountains. I was in cadets for 4 years. I was part of the Welsh rifle team, which, that was a long time ago, but it's kind of, it was it was skills that you have for mountain areas. So I then moved to uni to South Wales. I ended up doing different courses, 2 different HNDs.
In what subjects? In what subjects were they?
So I did multimedia computing, and then I moved to sound engineering.
Ah, interesting.
Because while I'd started uni, I had already been in the rave scene. And while I was in the rave scene, the first thing I learned was MCing. But I used to hide behind the speaker stacks so nobody knows me.
Are you real?
Yeah. Yeah.
So hold on. Let's scoot on. Hold on a second. So when did you actually start putting on events? Was that at uni?
Yeah. So it was probably year 2000. I would have been about 20. At the same time as uni, I was also working in a bar, and running a dance event in South Wales. And then from that point, I got picked up by other promotions to play for them, and ended up DJing all over the UK.
In your capacity as an event, so I mean, I know that you're a DJ. We'll come on to that. But in your capacity of being an event promoter, what sort of people were you booking and bringing into these different venues? I mean, Wales has got a big nightlife, but it's little pods of areas, isn't it?
Yes.
So I've gigged there a few times, so I know. But what sort of music, class of events were you putting on?
Okay, so when I was involved in the rave scene, obviously that was all underground, mountains, forestries, quarries, that kind of thing. And it was a bit of a free-for-all of different crews getting together. Yeah, but this is how I learned. I was taught how to lug stuff up mountains, climb trees and put lasers up there, Wow. But then when it came to actually me putting events on, because it was then within a venue, this then became me hiring all sorts of different DJs. I had people like Gareth Cortez, good friend of mine, lovely guy. Obviously, I then started playing for Bionic with Ian Hollyman, Callie, and Callie and Juice, and Brian M and McBunn. So I played with those guys quite a bit, all around South Wales. And
South Wales, yeah. Did you get to go outside of South Wales? Where did you?
Yeah.
I know that you have. I just want people to get a brief history of, you're not just in a little subdivision district. You are.
I then did Tribe of Frog in Bristol. I've played warehouses in London. I obviously warmed up for you guys, which was thank you, Robin Whelan's, Kazmash, R.I.P. lady. But those guys set me up to warm up for you guys at the mansion where I met you.
They're great guys. Well,
simply because
even though Kaz has passed, great lady. And she's funny because we were supposed to do a gig with her, and she died before she could put it on for her birthday.
Well, as Robin had come and picked up my record box, obviously I'd seen the record box move and I was up. And there was Kaz running behind me while I was trying to chase Robin. I'm like, where are we going? What's going on? What's happening? And she's there with a knee in my back, strapping up this. Yeah. My giant, it's beautiful, it's handmade. It's a giant spinal corset. So Kaz was running behind me strapping this up, and they threw me on the main stage before you guys.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I saw half of you guys actually down in front of me, and I played after Ramjack. Now, I'm usually one that I warm up for the main headliners.
Right,
Not,
yeah.
I should have been before Ramjack, I'm not, it blew me away that they knew not to give me a chance to panic or know what was going on. But it was...
That we're going to come, again, we'll come to why you wore that and why you still wear that. So now you're you're doing events, you're gigging in between. Oh my God, sorry. I really thought you were going to strip then.
It's that I'm kind of like lifting myself, but it's the sexy day corset, darling.
Listen, I don't want people to think that we are...
Okay, stop now. Calm.
Right, okay. So,
I did. I ended up DJing all over the country.
You've been gigging. So, here we are. Things are going on great. You've got no problems with mental health. You are on fire. You've got promotions going left, right, and centre. You're also DJing, and things are building. Then one day, what happened?
Oh, one day I was doing my normal weekly swim. I was a bit of a water baby. I could swim like a fish. And I had an injury in a swimming pool. I was persuaded to go down a silly little slide and I hit the bottom with my bum. My legs went up in the air, and what had happened was I had actually crushed down, and 2 discs came, instead of going sideways, they went backwards into my spinal canal, and they squashed 97% and filled 97% of the spinal cavity. So where your spinal cord comes down inside your bones, the cords spread out like a horse's tail.
Yeah.
Cauda equina syndrome.
Yeah.
So some of those nerves got cut through completely, which I don't have anymore, and they never regrew. And some of them were just squished and damaged. What that meant for me was that life changed completely. I lost the use of overtime and testing like a Rablat pin cushion.
No, I get that, but I want you to go from... I'm going to ask the question. When you had that injury, which you didn't know you had that at the time, you drove home, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Unfortunately, being an ex-health and safety officer, don't have a go at me. That job sent me crazy. Like, don't judge me for it, please. But there was no female first aider on. So I actually had no clue that I drowned. Not my brain had blocked it out.
Oh my God.
So obviously over that time, I was sorry from the pool when they were telling me we can't do a report. There's no female first aider. They basically, I think my own shock took over, and I got to the dressing room with my friend's daughter who had taken swimming. Yeah, and we got dressed. She helped me. I was in absolute agony, and because I only lived about 3 miles from the pool. And obviously it was all 30-mile-an-hour zones anyway, being in the city. I drove back to the house. I went to the doctors the next day, and I was just given painkillers and basically slept on the floor in the living room for about 2 weeks.
Thinking that, it's just a normal backache. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And now you're becoming a zombie.
Yeah. Basically, it took 8 months for me to have my first physio appointment. My physio took one look at me and said, oh my God, I'm not touching you. You have 2 slip discs. I'm calling an ambulance right now.
8 months before, and we're not in, that wasn't even in COVID. That was normal times.
It happened in 2007.
But it still took 8 months from the time you went to your GP to say, I've had this accident, my back is now out of shape. And they fed you with pills in the meantime.
Yeah. Yeah.
How was that effect on you up until that point? What was the effect on you?
It was quite bloody hard because nobody believed me. Because everybody was telling me there's nothing wrong with you. Obviously, when a doctor tells you that, you believe them. So,
of course.
I carried on. I carried on cooking. I carried on doing washing and getting washing baskets out. But I was kind of like sliding things across the floor, or getting up and down the stairs on my bum.
Yeah.
I couldn't get in and out the bath, so it was showers only. And then my back was so bad that I decided, and the thing was that I got attempted mugged twice while I was on my crutches.
What?
Yeah. So we moved out to the countryside.
While you're on crutches, you got attacked as well. Attempted.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah. But come on. No, I wasn't worried.
It's your truth. I'm not anywhere.
To be honest, Val, at that point in time, I was so fearless that I took the knife off them and put it down the drain.
Sorry.
I had my crutches.
I'm just doing this. Let's just pump up those. I
think what was going through my head at the time was, dude, I am in more pain than you can imagine. If you think that pulling that knife on me is going to give you anything, you are sorely mistaken.
Oh my God. That was like, try me. Hello,
yeah.
Try me.
Yeah.
Oh, so you moved because of that. You're now on crutches, and then you see the specialist. The specialist then tells you that, what did this specialist say? I'm not touching you. Where did the specialist send you?
Okay, so the physio then sent me to have the x-ray. This was while we were still in the city in Cardiff. And I found out I had 2 slip discs. So I'd seen the osteosurgeon while living in Cardiff, but it had explained that we were moving to a bigger house, flatter, would make life easier for me. He said, that's fine as long as you can come back for surgery. I went back for surgery and it didn't go so well.
In what way? What happened?
Well, first of all, my surgery was in 2009. That's 18 months after my injury.
That means everything had fused together. That means they had to cut through sinew, bone, and shit. Oh.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I've actually watched my surgery.
Ah, stop it!
Yeah,
you're too gruesome.
But unfortunately, it didn't go well. I was left still in a serious amount of pain and some very strange symptoms that I kept trying to explain to people, and they just weren't listening to me. So in the end, in 2011, I paid to go to Harley Street, the London Spine Clinic, to see Mr. Dan Plev, who is the most awesome, lovely, highest neurosurgeon in the country. He even shared his panini with me and even kicked my ex-boyfriend at the time out of the room because he was a little bit controlling and trying to take over questions when obviously they were done
about you
at me. So he did full testing. He looked at all of the MRIs. He looked at absolutely everything. I even had pins, electrodes put in my legs again.
And this is all after the original operation that you had under the NHS.
Yes.
So this doctor just said, my obligation to you is this. Yes, you've had 2 slip discs. Yes, you've had this incident. Here's a bag of pills. I'm going to do what I'm obligated to do, which is to go in, do something to make you feel. But then at the end of the day, he then turns around and tells you that, I'm sorry, I've done enough for you. You'll never do it the same ever again.
You've got it exactly right. His
ridiculous.
Excuse me. His exact words to me were, I've fixed your discs. I've fixed your spine. I don't know what else I can do for you.
Oh my God.
He said, I'm very sorry, but you're probably never likely going to walk again. My response to him, because I was so angry, was, excuse my language, and I won't say it fully, but don't ever tell a little Welsh girl that she's never going to do something. You effing well watch me. And it's taken a long time. And, you know, I've got my trusty wheelchair.
Sorry, it's the things that you do. You sort of go like, where's my wheelchair?
Yeah,
where's the walking stick? Where's the walking stick? I've been told you got the. She customized her walking stick.
It's even UV and reflective. When I'm in a club, they know I'm in a club because they get out my way.
I love it. I love it. You've got the customized walking stick. What else have you customized? We should be laughing. At least we can laugh at this point. Do you know what I'm saying?
You
After going to the Harley Street, you were left with a bag of pills.
Ooh, a bag of news that I wasn't really expecting. 2 weeks later, I had this massive pages of report from Mr. Dan Plev and explained that I had quadriquina syndrome and that my nerves were crushed.
Can you explain what that is?
Okay, so where I'd said that those nerve endings had got squished or cut through, what it means is that you are then left with, imagine, the way I can explain it to people is, what I lost through those nerves was, breathe. Remember what I said? I have lost function of bowel, bladder, lower intestine, kidneys aren't great, immune system is not great, and also I cannot feel my left leg down, from my knee down. So I have to wear corsets. I have to wear this carbon fiber foot leg thing that goes over my leg because, well, there's no point chopping it off. It's still there.
I can't laugh at that. It's just
I have to use equipment to use the toilet. And, oh, my darling, don't I have such wonderful complexion for a 40-year-old?
Yeah, you certainly do. Oh, my.
So, okay, here's the truth. I basically have to use a pump that gives me a colonic every day. Yeah. Laugh. Do it. Laugh. We call it pumpsy.
When you sent the message to me and said, I'm going to have to do a pumpsy, I kept thinking, what song's that? So I don't show me.
I wasn't kidding. Here's
Whoa.
my truth. You wanted my truth.
I did. But I think I'd laughed so hard. I've got tears at the same time. Oh my God. So you have to have a colonic irrigation every day. You're clumsy because of everything that's happened to you. They say in a Jamaican way. They say, I'm going to say it in Jamaica. They say you take bad things and make joke.
Yeah,
you take bad things and you joke about it because that is just our coping mechanism.
Do you know, I actually know quite a few Jamaicans.
Oh, right. So you understood what I
understand that completely. Yeah.
So basically, it's the fact that I know for a fact that it was hard up until even about 2 weeks ago to even discuss all of this. So, whilst I want to say it halfway through, I still commend you for standing in your truth, because people don't get it. They only see the outside. They don't see what's going on the inside.
They don't. Nobody sees anything, but I think I finally realised that that's actually my fault. I refused to show anybody. I moved so that people didn't know.
I think we're all guilty of that.
I didn't tell my family for a long time, and I didn't ask for help. I refused. I felt like once I'd had that report off of Mr. Plev that I was a burden for the rest of my life.
What was your relationship like?
At the time, I was not in a loving, caring relationship. It was easier for that person to just kind of leave me on the sofa and keep feeding me my medications. But when I saw Mr. Plev, obviously he then in the report he'd sent all these guidelines and recommendations and everything, which I'd never heard before. This was all new to me. So for the first time I kind of had a little bit of hope of like, if I do all of this, if I manage every step that he is saying in the guidelines, can I get somewhere in life? Can I? So I think something just sparked in me that just said, right, I'm taking this back. I'm taking my life back. I'm no longer, I refuse to be a dribbling mess from medications just handed out to you over the counter from the doctors. One of my doctors actually had to Google my condition while I was there.
Because they didn't understand it. It was new to them.
Yeah.
So this is what was happening to you.
Yeah.
So you took back control, and that meant you literally stopped the drugs and also ended that relationship, which was an added pressure onto who you were.
Yeah. It was crazy. When he then left, I became alone, disabled, in quite a big house. So in all honesty, what I decided to do was, the house was falling down and I thought, well, so am I. So if I do physio, and I had some amazing physiotherapists, and obviously I had to learn to walk again. I was on the monkey bars, everything else. But when I had started to maneuver a bit more, I decided, well, the house can help me train and I'll help it. So I renovated a 150-year-old ex-vicarage.
Whilst with a girdle, with a wheelchair, and with a Zimmer frame, as we want to call it, all of this, you inspired your own self through the peer group. Because remember, you're part of a peer group of people who have that syndrome.
Yeah.
The question I want to ask you is this.
I'm an advocate for the awareness of spinal cord injuries. I'm part of the group that is the Cordra Equina help group. And because I've had it since I was 27. There are people that are, and I feel for them, because there are some now that are literally, they've just had their surgery 4 months ago, or maybe they've just found out in the past few days, and they are so scared. They don't know. And you know, the amount of people that have these disabilities that their partners just walk away from them.
Good Lord.
Leave them. Just the same as what happened with me.
Right.
And
but you know, could you understand why they do? Do you understand why they do that? Do you I'm asking. You know, I can give a synopsis, but do you understand why the partner gives up? Because the few things that springs to mind is, I don't know how to cope with this. What do I do? And I genuinely believe that people who it's the same with cancer patients or people with any form of disability, when someone has to care for them, when your personal loved one has to care for them, it is difficult. There is no actual support for the supporter.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
There's care groups, I guess, for care.
Like, obviously, at the time, my partner had to become partly my carer. But at that time, we didn't know, and I hadn't been cared for to be able to go to physiotherapy, to go to my new clinics for my bowel and bladder. And it was those clinics that then tested me after I became on my own, because I went to the doctors. I said, I want this dealt with. I want help. And then they sent me to the spine clinic, and I now have a wonderful continence clinic nurse. She's I've got to commend her, Debbie.
You really are standing in your truth today.
I don't care anymore.
I love you.
I used to be so ashamed.
I love you.
Everything that I had become, everything that I had lost. I was scared of the future. I was a bloody mess, Val. And now I'm not ashamed of who I am.
I love it.
Yes, I'm disabled.
Stand in your truth.
Yes. I've got a mental health disorder. You know,
which I want to come on to. Bang on in there. Just stick a pin in that.
I'm still me.
Yeah, stick a pin.
I'm still in here. I'm still Kez. In here, I'm still Trinity.
No one's going to deny you that. The question I wanted to ask you earlier is, even though you're renovating and you're finding things to do, this is something that I've found a lot of people, especially through COVID, it's having the strength with their disabilities to find things to do. Not everybody. You've got those who are still bedridden and don't do anything. But the people I've come across so far, like Bonnie, who I interviewed the other day, the inspiration of knowing that your well-being has been compromised. Your well-being was compromised. Now, before you had the accident, you had no anxiety, no panic attack, no PTSD, nothing. You were on top of the world.
Yeah, the only anxiety I would have is before I go on stage. People always thought that I was...
I'd like to think that's normal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, every set for the past 20 years, I think I have vomited half an hour before everyone.
I hope no one's having lunch while they're watching this.
I'm so sorry, but it's true. You know, when I get up on stage and everybody thinks, oh, look, she's all smiles. She's all like, yeah, she's going to give it some.
Yeah. I think that any DJ, any singer, any artist who doesn't have nerves, and I'm talking about from the Stereophonics to the Patti LaBelle's of this world.
Yeah.
I know with practice, it becomes like second nature. They say, like, if you're driving a car you'll get into the car, you don't actually go, well, how do I turn the engine on? Because it becomes second nature, doesn't it?
Automatic.
So exactly. So it's part of me even blinking your eyes. So what I'm saying to you is this, is anyone that doesn't have that form of anxiety and nerves is too overconfident.
Yeah.
Now, you know, when I was speaking to beautiful man, MC Speed, who suffers in the music industry. Isn't he just a don, isn't he?
He's just lovely.
Absolutely. And he, your picture's gone off the screen, and he pretty much said, you know, it took him 45 minutes where he just had to psych himself up to get on the stage. It was just a lot. And so I get the anxiety. But apart from that, you didn't suffer with anything like that.
Nope. Until
you had the accident. Now, with the accident, on top of all of that, still DJed.
I didn't for a while, but then we decided to start putting on an event. This is myself and my ex-partner putting on a drum and bass event. I had changed completely from dance music, trance, techno, all that kind of thing, and then we'd moved to breaks and drum and bass. And Fractal was born. It was once a month in Aberystwyth, our local town, and do you know what? It did okay. What the whole ideal behind it was to get in some of the higher name people that we knew, and that we could book, and add them to lesser known people so that we could build up and give them some confidence and give them somewhere to play from. And you know, because like you said, Wales we have pockets.
That's right.
But most of our country is beautiful countryside.
That's right.
You know, my view here, I'm extremely lucky in that it is green. And okay, the sky is grey.
Anyone that sees where she lives, it is greener than green.
It's green. We're green.
Nowhere. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
But like people have said to me, why do you live there? If you've been a DJ and you've played all over the place, why do you live there? And my answer is exactly because of that. I've lived in different cities. I've lived in.
What has that got to do with them? That's your solace.
That's
what you want. Yeah, exactly. I think people's idealist ways of thinking that if you're a singer or an actor or something, you're supposed to be living in a mansion.
Yeah.
You know, I truly believe that, you know, people who show or wear their wares of what they have or they perceive to have, they don't actually have that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Nobody knows how they went about getting it.
They
see the facade
I completely
put outside.
Yeah.
So I'm going to drag us back in because I don't want to drag on to, you know, I want us to make sure we stay within the hour of this show, which is how you coped with your PTSD, you've got the anxiety, you're still DJing. Now, even through COVID, which has just got even worse, how are you coping?
Well, once I then part ways with the chap I was with at the time, I suddenly realised that there was something wrong here. The one day I was just laying there and realised this isn't right. My head is not right. I went to the doctors. I explained what was going on. I had basically demanded help so that I didn't have to take any more medication. I refused they offered me 3 different types of antidepressants or whatever nasty ass tablets.
Why do they always think that's the answer?
This is it, and that's what annoys me. So
that's the answer.
Yeah, and it's not. That is really not the answer at all.
There's natural ways of dealing with depression and anxiety.
Yeah, there is.
And, do you know what I mean? And panic attacks. But some doctors are so lazy. And I'm sorry, you know, I have to call you guys out, standing in my truth. You know, because I've been through a grieving process. So not to take away anything, I'm just saying I have been in that.
You know,
discuss this
that for
exactly.
every individual, there is a different process. And I do believe that any of the techniques that you are taught obviously have to be individual to yourself, but you can transpire those to help other people. Music, for me, so I was then sent to a psychology unit. I felt a bit, look, she's going to a shrink. So the first 2 I didn't click with. We didn't get on. And I'm allowed to say that, I was truthful. So I'd spoken to them both and they said, hold on a minute. So lucky for me, along came their boss, who decided to take on my challenge.
Here you are.
3.5 years I was with her. And, you know, I had to be tested. I had to have all these questionnaires and everything else. And then you have a starting grade and then you see how your progress goes over the 3.5 years. She diagnosed me with PTSD. To be quite honest, when she first said that to me, I know this is wrong now, but I laughed. I laughed and I laughed in her face.
Why?
Because...
Was that a nervous laugh?
No, I said, don't be so bloody stupid. I haven't got PTSD. That's what affects, you know, armed forces and the poor people who have done their jobs, and that's who it affects. And what I actually found out was that's so wrong. It's all about the mind. And apparently PTSD is something that affects the strong-minded.
Oh, amen.
The strong-willed and the stubborn.
Come on, you've got people that are in the army. They pick up a gun to shoot and kill other human beings, even though they are the most pacified people.
Yeah.
But they're fighting for their country.
So,
and they had to suppress all their feelings.
Yeah, you've got to...
When they come back, it's like...
down. So anybody who is so strong-willed and has had a near-death experience or post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, the disorder means that you have had it for more than 3 years.
Oh, obviously.
So PTS is something that you have from 0 to 3. Yeah.
That's right.
PTSD. So for me, what that entails is I have nightmares of drowning. I wake up drowning and my throat is gargling. I can see all the bubbles. Hold on. That's just triggered me. And I just, 1 sec.
Breathe. Breathe.
Your brain becomes a detriment to your body because you refuse to show any emotion, because you fake the emotions. It comes out in your body. Your brain forces it through your body. So
it's called survival mode.
Yeah.
That's what
it closes up your throat, your chest.
Yeah.
I thought I was having asthma attacks.
No, you were having a panic attack.
Full panic attacks, making me nauseous. My mouth runs just as it does then. But I've learned, like yesterday, after speaking to you, it was, my head was gudum. I was hanging over a thing like this going, oh, this isn't good.
But then once you got it out, once you faced your truth, did you not feel the weight that came from here? And it just literally it's going to take a few days. I mean, but that was yesterday. Today, how do you feel?
Today, I've actually woken up and like I messaged you saying like I've not slept much. I'm a bit tired, but do you know what? Get it out, man. Like,
yes.
This is it.
Yes.
Look, I have to. Here's my truth. My name is Kez. The irony is I have CES. Kez has Kez. You know? I have quadriquina syndrome. I have PTSD. I am still a DJ. I am now a producer. And I can still carry on. I do have bad days. I do spend a lot of time bedbound. But I am in one of the most fortunate positions that since I moved here with my best friend, and if it wasn't for
Yeah.
whoop, whoop, John Khan, DJ Protege, keep an eye out for this guy. He's gonna go well.
Yeah.
And again, if it wasn't for my mum, my dad, like friends like Martha, Vicky, Fee, you know, I wouldn't have been able to do this stuff. They are the ones that have, and you know, the amount, come on, the amount of messages you sent me just saying, go on, girl, just release that tune, will you? And I read it going, okay, I wasn't expecting
what the public
that.
don't know is that while she's been in bed, she's grabbed her laptop and started to produce.
Yeah.
She sent me the track and she said, I'm trying. It's like I could read it through the text. It was like, I'm trying to do this track. And it's like the first thing, what should I do? So I went, hold on a second. So I listened and I was, hold on, let me show you.
Oh no, you're not going to play it.
No, I'm going to be like,
oh yeah.
I was skanking. And I tried to skank through the phone at her, but I couldn't. I literally left it playing and I sent you a message and I said, badass tune. I was like, oh my God, are you sitting on this tune? And, you know, she has now gone on and she's producing in her sick bed. And she's on her fourth one. And she's going, I'm going to really, shut up, Kez, just release the damn tune. That's what I said.
And I did. And so I released it to YouTube and SoundCloud, because SoundCloud has all my DJ mixes, which is everything from trance, breaks to drum and bass. But this first track that I released was, the reason it was called Pain in My Game is that at the time, oh God, you're going to pee. I had 2 slip discs.
I hope nobody is eating food.
I had 2 slip
like Rusty
discs.
Lee, sorry.
So 2 slip discs created a cross between drum and bass and orchestra, a track that was called The Pain in My Game.
Right, I tell you what, stop right there, because we're coming to the end of this show. I need you to toddle over, sorry, pardon the pun. I want you to toddle over and quickly play that. I want you to play us out today.
Okay.
I know it's going to take a while, so I know you just take your time, walk over while I'm still talking. Do you know what I mean?
What I'm going to do is,
sorry,
I'm going to put Technomatic Perseverance on, and I might be able to mix one tune today.
Just give me 1 or 2 tunes. That's enough. We don't need. I just need you to play us out while Kez is walking over. Everybody, let me just say there was something that she mentioned to me. Go. While I'm talking, there was something that you mentioned, which was where you've had a lot of not backlash, but you've not had really great feedback from people. You're you're out there, you help a lot of people. And she said to me that it was disturbing that people watch her live. It was disturbing that they didn't have anything good to say. They always had, I don't want to use the word jealousy, but they had, it's, I think a lot of people get that. And the only advice or things I can say to her is this: use the negative words, use the negative attitude that you get from people and turn it into a positive. Use the negative vibes and inspire yourself to be the best you. And here she goes. Everybody, as you can see, she's, I'm sorry, I had to let her play a tune. So this is DJ Trinity from Wavelength Promotions playing us out. Thank you to anyone that has watched us today. I have no idea why I'm shouting, but thank you for everybody. This was our first actual live. Most of our shows were pre-recorded, and I hope you do like it. And watch out for next week. We've got tremendous guests coming in next week. We've got from CKP, we've got Joe Hunt coming on in a few weeks' time. I've got a couple of guys coming on the sports show. Tomorrow's show is the sports edition. I hate camera lights, it makes me bloody sweat. But here she goes. Tomorrow on the sports edition show, I have none other than boxing coach from Dynamics MBE. Did I say that? They're an MBE. They had an MBE, Richard Davis, who's going to be joining us live at midday tomorrow here on Standing in My Truth Sports Edition. Check out. Hey! Have a great Friday! Stop it out! Bye, everybody. See you tomorrow. Why am I shouting? I think because I can hear the music. Night, guys. I'm breaking a sweat. I was dancing.
Love you, Val.
Love you too. Stay safe. Stay shielded. And
thank you, my darling.
That's okay. Thank you for being
truth.
On here. Thank you for being on Standing in My Truth.
Thank you.
And have a wonderful weekend, everybody out there. We'll catch you next week. But on the sports edition, join me tomorrow with Richard Davis from Dynamics Boxing MBE. Have a beautiful weekend.